Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. Yesterday I took the Plodder Flatty and put it in the engine stand. I thought I would just have a look, see if I can come up with a reason for the low oil pressure. I've took all the valves out and I've took the cam out. And the first thing I noticed is that the cam bearings appear to be in good condition. I had one motor where they were quite badly worn. This one appears to be okay, which is a little bit annoying because I was hoping that they would be all worn out or the cam would be 10 thou under, and I could put some new cam bearings in and restore the oil pressure, because I was able to do that on one engine, the old 59 Flatty. So that isn't an option. I've taken out number 1 and number 5 rod and piston, and I've measured this. I measured it that way and that way and got some numbers, and I've written them down on a piece of paper. So I measured the rod journal, and then I used this thing which is 1/2 inch diameter and this micrometer there to measure that and that, and I used this to measure in there, and I wrote all the numbers down on a piece of paper to do the calculation. You can't really plastic gauge these because you know, it's a composite bearing. There's bearing surfaces on both sides. The rod bearings, the standard size is 2.139, and I measured these numbers here. On number 1, crossways 2.109, and inline 2.107. By crossways I mean that way, and inline I mean that way. Look, I don't know, you know, I'm just kind of making this up as I go along. And on the number 5 I got 2.108 and 2.106. So as these numbers are sort of 30 thou less than the standard size, well, they are 30 thou under for a start off. The shells measured 0.123, and the rod diameters came out at 2.362. Okay. My understanding is that you take this dimension, subtract that from it, but do it twice because you've got, you know, one the one side and one the other, and then subtract these dimensions from it, and that gives you tells you how much the clearance is. When I took twice that from that and then subtracted that one there, that came out at 7 thou. And when I did it with that one there, it came out at 10 thou. So assuming that this is typical and all the rest are the same, we're dealing with up to 10 thou of clearance here, which I believe is way past any sort of recommended clearance. The engine doesn't knock, it doesn't bang, doesn't rattle. You can possibly sense that it is a little bit loose when you really thrash it, but it wasn't really meant to be thrashed. I've thrashed it because I was racing it at Prescott, but it doesn't need to do that anymore. Sorry if this is getting a little bit wordy, but I'm just going to explain where I'm going with this. So yeah, ideal world. Regrind, resize the rods, new bearings, and everything will be hunky-dory. I'll just tell you, that's not going to happen. Can't afford it. It's, you know, it is prohibitively expensive to do any work like that. So, just stepping back one little bit, it runs great, it drives great, it'll continue to work for years to come. So I'm going to put it back together. I might have a look at the mains, you know, let's just compound the misery. This cap and that cap came from a different engine, so there might be a error in the roundness of the holes, which I'm not really in a position to do anything about. Like I say, this engine runs and drives great. So let's, just for the sake of interest then, let's pull, let's say, the centre main and have a look at the shells, see if there's abnormal wear on them. And I think I have got some plastic gauge somewhere, and I'll do a plastic gauge on the centre main and just see what number that tells us. Okay, so that'll be the next stage. So let's not say what I'm going to do yet. Let's have a look at that and then see what we're dealing with. I'll bring you back when I get to the next stage. I've pulled the centre main. The crank looks nice, looks good, and the dimension is 2.485. Now you got to be a little bit careful with that, because it's hard to measure it because I've only got access to half of it. So I just put the tip of the caliper down the little indent where the bearing goes, you know, that bit down there where you can't see it because I haven't got the light on. I've done my best. So that is actually 2.499 is the standard size. So that's 10 thou down and then 4 thou down, you know, so it's like 10 thou down and 1 4 thou ish. You know, I can only kind of guesstimate some of these things. There's the main cap, and the bearing looks good actually, and you can't see any kind of signs of you know, like for instance rubbing tight on the one side, so I think the cap fits well. There's the plastic gauge. That looks quite broad to me. That there is around about 322.322, and this one is possibly slightly less. That's about the same, slightly less, yeah. But let's call it 320. Let's say about 320. Now this is a very old set. This is a very old set of plastic gauge, and I haven't got the you know, special scale that you measure it against. So I need to find out, you know, what that number equates to. But that does look quite broad to me. I don't think the mains are too bad. Okay, I'll find out in a bit, and I'll update the video. Hello, I've started putting the motor back together. I've put the cam in, put the timing cover on, I've put the cam gear on, I've put the bolts in, put the tabs on the washers, put number 1 and 5 back in, put the rods on, torqued them up, put the centre main in, torqued that up, safety wired it, and I thought I'd just put all the valves back in. I only took the valves out so I could take the cam out to inspect the cam bearings. Because I took the lifters out, I took them out in such a way that I can just put them straight back in again in the right holes without any messing about. So that's number 1. Sorry, the numbering would be, this is cylinder number 1, so lifter number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, up to 16. That's number 16. So all I got to do now is work my way backwards and put them in one by one, starting there, then down this side, and end with number 1 here. I used to use a bootlace, but to be honest, I hadn't got one handy. Plus, you're not going to get any fluff off the bootlace on them, doing them with on a piece of welding wire. just thought I'd show you that. It's handy, you know, when you're taking something apart, knowing you're going to be putting it back together quite soon. That's quite a good way of doing it. I put all the lifters in. I put all the valves back in. Just put them all back in the same place. So it should be exactly like it was. The last time I ran this motor, I ran it with a lot of choke for a long time by mistake. That's why it's really heavily sooted up. Just thought I'll put the intake manifold on just to, you know, protect from any dirt and stuff going in. And as I picked it up, this came out and I dropped it. It landed on there, look. It landed on there and broke this. Hey, these things come to try us. I'll have to sort another one out. Okay, back in a bit. Hello. Got the first head back in place. Just about to put this one on. Yes, the old gasket is going back on again. I've just cleaned it up a little bit. I just wanted to show you something. Can you see that this engine's been linered? It's got liners in. But can you see that there's a massive chamfer on the liner? Like a really big chamfer. Does that show on the camera? I believe it does. The upshot of that is that I have to run a big bore gasket on this engine. So I put these gaskets on when I first put the engine together, and they've been on ever since. Not the most you know, beautiful example, but I've found that these good quality copper gaskets can be reused a few times. I believe it's a Victor Reinz. Okay, anyway, I thought I'd just show you that silliness there. Look, that silly big chamfer there. Crazy, isn't it? Should I clean that out, do you think? It's only a little bit of carbon where I've scraped the cylinders. Yeah, I'll give the cylinders a little wipe out, and then I'll carry on. Righto, back in a bit. Hello. I'm just having a look at oil pumps. On this table I've got various oil pumps. Right, this oil pump was in the motor with low oil pressure. I don't know what spec of pump this is, but as you can see, it's a long body pump, but it has what I would call the taller gears, and it has an adapter and a pickup there. It also has the pressure relief valve built in. So that is post sort of 59A, isn't it? Because the 59A had the pressure relief valve in the block. So that is kind of some sort of 8BA stroke, you know, 8BA type onwards, but one that has a deep sump pin at the back. Okay, so I don't know what it is, but that's what that is. I haven't really got set up for filming, but these oil pumps just happen to be in this area, so I'll show you what these other ones are as well. There isn't one here that is the same as that one out there. Okay, there are 3 here that are long body, and but I'll show you the difference between these ones and that one out there. This one's one that was very badly corroded, as you can see there. Can't quite remember which motor this come from. It might have been the motor that was in my 33 coupe. Okay, so there's that one. So let's just put that on one side because it's scrap. This is one that appears to be much the same. Ford USA. What I noticed now I'm looking at it again is that there appears to be that similar localized blockage on the filter around about that area there, which is just above where the internal oil pickup is. So that may have been causing a problem with that one. Okay, right. I took that out of the old 59A Flatty and I fitted a different pump. This one is similar, Ford USA, well Ford rather, and this is brand new, old stock, ex-military. Right, so it's still in Cosmoline. And it's of a similar type to those ones there. But it has got a brand new pickup and filter on it. Now, let me just show you the difference between these oil pumps. Can you see the gears are taller in that pump down there? There's a difference in height of the gears. So in other words, that pump there is capable of pumping more volume than this one. Okay. That's why that, oh, I've made a mess. Look at that. What an idiot. So that pump there is capable of pumping more volume than this pump. So basically I don't want to put this pump in here because it needs more volume because it has low oil pressure. So although this is brand new, I'm not sure where I can use it. One of these is brand new. This one, it's got grease in it. This was bought by a friend of mine from Rock Auto, and it was not the right one for his motor, so he sold it to me. And is what I would call a short-bodied pump. I bought this one recently at a swap meet, and it looks similar to that. It looks similar to that. It isn't marked Ford or anything else. It's got 5A written on it. But I noticed that this one's got helical gears in it. I don't know what that means. So if you look at these two, they have similar depth of gears. Okay. And these gears are, again, taller than this original long-bodied pump. Now I don't know if these are exactly the same, but they appear to be a similar height to those. So you would imagine that this pump will pump the same amount as that pump. Well, you know, given similar condition. So that one is helical. This one is brand new, straight cut. Okay, so that's that one. This one came out of a French engine. It has straight cut gears. This is the straight cut one. And you can see a couple of subtle differences. This part here is solid. I don't know what difference that makes. There's a discharge hole there. That's got a slot. Okay. That's got a hole. These have got a hole. Okay. So I'm kind of learning, you know, as I'm going along. Like I say, this is a French one. It's got an O-ring there, look. See? It has an O-ring. That's got to help, hasn't it? It's got a tang there to drive the auxiliary gears. That's how I know this is a French one. But if you look, can you see that the gear casing is taller? It has taller gears again. So this pump, this French pump, is capable of pumping more oil than these ones here. And these are capable of pumping more oil than these ones here. So in my engine that has very low oil pressure, this pump here might be what I need to generate a reasonable amount of oil pressure in the engine. Unfortunately, I haven't got any more of these. I think this is my last one. And I've got engines in bits, so I'm going to put myself short of pumps. But this pump and this pump, that one there, but these two pumps will do for my other French engines. Now look, I'm just kind of working this out in my head. The reason why I think this pump here, these French pumps, have extra volume capacity is because they have like, let's say, an air compressor to supply oil to, that's just a constant drain back to the oil pan. They have external filter. They have hour counters. They have feeds here, there and everywhere, so to oil different things on the engine. So I think they upped the oil capacity. Now I think the downside of that is when you run a French motor as a civilian motor and you don't have any of them things hooked up, these pumps actually pump more oil than you need for a French motor. The French motor in my sedan now is running too much pressure really. It's kind of wasting power pumping oil pressure. It doesn't need that much pressure. So I'm thinking that one of these oil pumps, or even that worn out one on the other engine, would do okay on the good condition French motor in my sedan. So what I need to do is I need to take the parts off one of these, maybe this one here, and adapt it onto this one here. And I need to make like a tubular adapter with a couple of flanges on it. Okay, so I will start preparing to do that. I hope you found that interesting, just showing you the little subtle differences between all the pumps. Maybe I should do it again with them laid out a bit better, but you know, hey ho. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Hello, I've kind of got the filter mocked up. This is a French pickup tube that I've modified, and kind of from memory it's more or less along the lines of how I modified the one that's in the oil pan on Old Rusty. So that fits like that. I don't know if I'm slightly high on this side. I think it'll be okay. I'm gas welding it. It's just kind of tacked at the moment. I'm trying to make my mind up if I'm happy with it. This is a handy thing, this plate that I made. I've used it a couple of times now for mocking up an oil pump. I'll take it off carefully, and what I might do actually is put like a V in it here and bend it down slightly. Okay, I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Okay, I've welded it, gas welded it. I always say not my prettiest, but it'll do. I put a couple of V's in it just to kind of allow it to bend to where I wanted it to. I'm going to very closely inspect it, and I'll also kind of pressure test it pardon me, purely by putting my finger over the end and blowing down the other end and listening and feeling for leaks. But I'll get it out, and there's a little bit of clearance to the bottom. It does move down a bit, so I think that'll be okay. You have to make sure this is welded properly, because it would suck air in, you know, if there was a gap. So yeah, hopefully I can fit that, and that will work with this pump, and that might be the only chance this engine has got of, you know, generating any pressure. Okay, righto, so there's the motor. I'll get this fitted probably tomorrow, and then I'm not in a position to run it, but I have had an idea which might be interesting, another little mini project in itself, to maybe, now this is just an idea, yeah, I might do this. I might get the Roadster out, turn it round so that the front of the car is there, and use that part of the frame as an engine stand, because I can put an engine there. It doesn't have to be fixed to a gearbox. I can just support it on a jack at the back. I can have the radiator in place. I can put some hoses on and supply it with fuel and supply it with everything it needs to run. So that might be another little mini project in itself, just using the front end of the Roadster as an engine stand. You know, why not? Okay, righto. That's enough jibber jabber. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Cheers then. Bye.